what's funny is me and my dad are completely opposite in the area of emotion, because he can button up, and I'm like, oh man, this happened. This, I'm that guy.
I remember one time, now it's coming back. It shouldn't be coming back right now, but it's coming back. He was sitting at the piano playing the piano, but he wasn't singing yet, but he was just playing at the piano. And I told him, stop playing that piano. I said, stop playing the piano, let's play football. We don't play the piano, we play football, all right? And I remember, I don't know if you remember that. I do. You do, or you weren't supposed to remember? But I don't know, I want him playing no piano, I want him playing football. Look how big he is, And that's imposing something. I was perpetuating the wrong thing with him. See, one of the principles in Scripture is when it says train up a child in the way he should go, the Hebrew word there is train up a child according to their bent. And what I was doing is I was taking my bent and I was imposing it on Anthony.
There were years where I felt disconnected because I wasn't the football player's son, and it actually messed with my mind because of the way that, between my dad being that football dad and culture in general, and then being an African-American male on top of that, where emotions aren't necessarily a thing we talk about or discuss, or you're weak if you let them come up. So I had this dichotomy between what culture says masculinity is, and then David, who's a guy after God's own heart, who was always on being led by his emotions and having to try to rein that in, but he was a man after God's own heart. So I'm working with that internally, but then also I have a dad who, when things are brought to his attention, I'll never forget being 27 and staying at their house one of these times when I'm in Dallas, and I tell him how things affected me growing up. I'm having this conversation with him and my mom, telling them how I felt growing up as I tried to be the third child peacekeeper and keep everything on the inside and bottled up. And my dad, I'm 27 years old, he opens the door and proceeds to apologize about how I felt, how he didn't know. He didn't make excuses. It wasn't like, I'm sorry, but it was just, I'm sorry about the way that you felt. I did not know that. And if I would have known that, I would have done things different. I thought that I was helping and wasn't helping. I mean, that was at 27. So to have that kind of moment, it's the same thing that happened with you and your dad in a different way. It's that moment changed a heart that was actually getting hard and callous toward faith in general. Wow. And he actually didn't know that. Wow. Like, I was singing and running around, but I was doing it to get the acceptance for the performance and all that stuff. And I was about to be done with it all until that apology happened. Becoming a kingdom man starts with surrender. And a lot of times masculinity in our culture is the antithesis of that. It's not about that. It's about my world, my kingdom, my thing. But the biblical definition, it starts with surrender and being vulnerable and authentic and transparent enough to admit where you are and allow Jesus to meet you where you are and make you who he wants you to be.